Okay, this is repairing a 2006 Sorento. Handles are really crappy. This one's bad. This one's even worse. Look at this. So, we're gonna take care of it. Okay, here's the door. I've had this off before, and gotta pull off the little rubber mat under there. There should be a screw. There's a screw in here which requires removing this little cap. And of course then you've got these standard little screw things. Anyway, I've had it off before. It shouldn't be a big... Well, this was a nice surprise. I found out that here was the mat and the screw was never put back last time, so it saves a little work. One of the key things I believe in is put everything in a container so you don't lose it. Well, the other guy's video didn't show this, but I saw it looked like I'd taken this off before, and it wasn't coming free, so I'm going to try loosen this baby and see if this makes a difference. Yeah, well, it seemed to be necessary. Those two bolts were holding it, so you do have to remove this and take two screws out. Yeah, you can see access. Here's the two bolts. Looks like this baby got to, take the tape off there. And we'll see, maybe this will be necessary as well. Now looking inside here, there's something in the way, and when I put a narrow socket in, and when I put a full-size socket wrench in, it didn't fit. So I really have to use a very narrow extension and press it hard against whatever that is there to get it onto the bolt. Okay, I'm loosening this clip now to get this rod loose. This clip should push in and then out and off. There you go. Okay, that's looking a little better. Okay, I used this to pry out the key switch. Looking at the replacement, it looks like this part here busted. And that's it there, still stuck on the rod. So that's got to come off and tie into this green piece. Okay, we're attached. Next is to get this back in, and then this has to tie into this again. Okay, we got this in, and you got to line it up with the stud that's in the underneath there that I pried before. I got this linkage on, so we're ready to bolt it up. Well, I found it wasn't necessary to remove this linkage because my wrench could fit in between. The difficulty was getting by that beam in there. You kind of have to force the rubber. It's soft, so you can reach in and push the wrench over against the rubber to get it to fit on the nut. Okay, there she is back together. Yeah, we decided not to paint it. Perfect. Okay, now we're looking at the driver's side, and I noticed that the configuration is different. There's no handle like the other side, which was not mentioned in the previous video. So there's a difference. That one, the handle has to come off. This side doesn't have that big pull handle, so it only requires probably this screw, and the surrounding screw, little plastic screws, to take the door off. While on the other side I had to remove the cover and take two screws out of that handle. Okay, remove clip and remove screw. Okay, remove this. Okay, and next is get down in here and get that screw out. Okay, so there's a screw. The rubber was giving me a little trouble coming out. You got to get a narrow screwdriver and pry it out. Just a note here, this one's a longer size, and the other size for the front are smaller. So remember, the back end has the longer ones. Well, on this side I grabbed really hard and pulled here to get the corner loose. Instead of prying here, I just managed to pull there. Yeah, just pull it at the bottom, and then you lift up and get it over this ridge, because this ridge here sits under here, and so you got to lift up on it a bit to get it over this ridge. I had a little trouble getting the other side back in. It's a little tricky, but you just lift up to get it off. Like I said, on the other side, the track that holds the window is rubbery in here, and you have to kind of force the wrench over to get it onto the nut, and you need a very thin drive to get onto the nut, because the channel that holds the glass, it's rubber, so you can force it over to get it on, but it's pretty tight. One of the key issues is not to drop the nut. I almost dropped the nut. Okay, just 3 bolts. This cap's got to come off, and that's the last 3 bolts to get the handle out. Okay, it's a little short here with the wire. It's a good idea to push in this clip and give yourself some slack. You might even unplug here to give yourself plenty of slack to work. Best to reach in underneath to get this one. Okay, 2 linkages have to be released. This is one of them. Right there. And this one here, this I may have to use both hands. Okay, then under here I pry to get the lock out. Okay, there we go. That's how she was. This end had a problem. It was doing like that. Yeah, I just pressed it into the thing and make sure that bolt lines up with the hole, and press that baby in. Just got to put on the linkages. Okay, linkages are on. Now this is a little tricky. You got to kind of twist it a little bit to get that baby in there. But once that's in, you just got to make sure. Make sure your gasket is or your some kind of seal they got there is lined up, and press it in. I think I'm going to need 2 hands. Okay, we're all back together. Thing covered. This put back. New handle. Working perfectly. There we go.